to get the interfaces, get the reactions and stuff. So if some of you want to leave cameras on, that's great. Anyway, we are recording. Yeah. By all means, go for it, Braxton, Brady. I'll let you introduce what kind of who you are.
Yeah, sounds good. Nobody has better facial expressions, I think, than Abe and Eric here. So my name is Braxton. I'm not sure if any of you have ever met me. I am usually on these meetings to represent Intermountain Healthcare or Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake. That's where I currently work. But what I will be talking about today kind of predates that, and I think it'll kind of bring everything in a little bit more context of what Coplay is, how it was developed, and what exactly it can do. So about 5 years ago, I started volunteering. Actually, I think it's about 6 now. I started volunteering at Primary Children's, helping them out with CCTV productions and also with gaming. When I was working or volunteering there, we had the potential of getting a really big grant for changing out all of our Xbox 360s to Xbox Ones. So when we did that, me and Brady, because Brady was volunteering there at the same time, we started trying to figure out what's the best ways for us to provide this for patients in rooms, and also what are the biggest pain points that we have with doing that. A lot of people, right when they think of in-room gaming, it instantly turn to impossible to manage. That's one of the biggest pain points right now, is it's just so difficult to manage those things. And we saw that. And as we were volunteering there, we were trying to figure out ways that we could develop settings to make it so that it's restricted, or develop ways that makes it so that we don't ever have to go into all of these rooms to make adjustments. And so while we were doing that, Brady is an extremely intelligent person when it comes to software engineering or development, just coding in general. When I was working, volunteering at Primaries, he was also working for, you might be able to speak to this a little bit better. You were working with Oculus or with VR productions, right? Or games? Okay. So he was doing that, and we tried to figure out, are there ways for us to start scripting some of these things that we want to push out, or develop a way to make it all seamless and easy. And we kept on trying and trying and trying, and we've found some really, really cool progress and some really inventive ways for us to manage these systems. With that, just a little bit of background on what we decided for Primary Children's Hospital. We currently have 260 about in-room gaming systems. They're all friended to each other. That's extremely important for their process, because we make it so that they can't interact with anybody outside of their friends list. But we also wanted to keep that friends list open, so that if they had a friend or a family member from another state that they wanted to play with, they could reach out to them, add them to the friends list, and continue playing. But these issues with in-room consoles are that stays on the account. You will have all of these friends being added and deleted and adjusted, and there's no way to control that. Of course, a lot of the PHI issues that we're seeing with in-room gaming systems. So what we decided to do first and foremost is start tackling ways that we can be able to remove PHI from gaming systems that are inside your hospital. It doesn't need to be in-room gaming systems. They just need to be gaming systems that connect to the internet. So anything from a Wi-Fi connection can work with our system. But Brady, did you want to pull that up and show kind of what it's looking like currently and what we've been able to create?
Yeah, definitely. Let me just share my screen here. So yeah, one of the biggest things that we ran into was like Braxton was saying, they have like 250 Xboxes basically. And if you want to go in and you want to add another Xbox and make it like a friend of the rest of the fleet that you have, that one Xbox has to add every other Xbox, and every other Xbox has to add that. Ignore that. Has to add that console. So it's just like, it's a process that's just too crazy. And in addition, you've got kids getting on these Xboxes and messaging their friends and adding their friends and putting like personal details and stuff in there that's stuff that you don't want to be shared around or left on that console when they leave. So this is it's a working name. We called it the friend zone. It does a lot more stuff now than it used to, so it'll get renamed to something. But this is kind of an example. So these are all different Xbox Live accounts that we've set up under like Coplay email addresses. So if you wanted to, like, if you had another Xbox with another account and you wanted to add that to your fleet, what you do is you go in here and you sign up through Microsoft. So we've got like a little portal set up with Microsoft. So we'll do, I think the one that hasn't been added is this. And then if I can remember the password for all of this. We go in there, we register with Microsoft, and now you get a code that you can use to log into the friend zone. So we do that here. Give it just a nice little second. Perfect. Okay, so GamerDude001's added. So that's this account here. So you can see this account has no friends, but you can also see that it's got 2 active conversations. So like in a hospital setting, if this were a new console that you've set up, you've put it in someone's room, someone's already been sending messages or possibly like PHI across. So what you can do to add this to your fleet is you can just click this button, do add all friends. It will go in for every other friend that you've got here in the friend zone. It's going to go in. It adds them. You can see it has 5 friends now. You can even go in. You can check on the conversations that have been had. There's a gamer tag in here that's like master glue. So I just sent some like demo messages from these accounts saying, "Hey, I like glue too." So that's not any weirder than it is. But so now what you can do is like, okay, you can monitor the conversations that are the active conversations for this account. And if you want to go in and you want, let's say that patient checks out and you need to like reset this to get rid of those conversations, you can select that account, you can click clear conversations, and then all of the PHI or any like potentially identifying information has been cleared off of that account. You can even like remove all of the friends if you wanted to, and the next patient that comes in can come in, add their friends and family, and they don't have to worry about any data leaking out. So fairly straightforward. We found it to be very useful. Just the adding a new console to a fleet of consoles was something that would take so long to do before. If you've ever had to search for something with a controller, you know how frustrating that can be. So if you're trying to do that, 250 times to add another account, it can be basically untenable. So yeah, this is the friend zone as it stands now. There's a lot of plans for what we want to do with it in the future to be able to like install and remove games. We can do all of that. We just want to get feedback, see what people actually want, so we can build it out so it's most useful for everybody that would use it.
Yeah, and could you keep on that actually, Brady, so I can go over a couple of things. So just some use cases that that I think are important to look at. For one, all of this we are planning on setting up on a schedule. So if you just want to have these friends list reset every 24 hours, every once a week, every 12 hours, whatever you want to do, it will do that. And you don't ever have to touch it. But if there's other situations, I know that every hospital deals with mental health patients differently, or having that where they would be concerned that they would be able to interact with other patients. Well, this is as simple as you can be able to find which room it is. There's a note section there as of right now where you can list things. If you want to list which room they are, that's what I feel like is going to be like the best opportunity for me and my setup at the hospital that I work at. But there's really all that customization. But so if you get information from your team that handles mental health patients saying, hey, this is one that we don't think necessarily should be interacting with other people within the hospital, it's as easy as going in there and clearing the friends and allowing that to be a kind of a mental health situation until it's gone, and then you just resync it that simply. You can also do that with conversations. So if you just want to have conversations being cleared every 24 hours, that's something that's really easy for you to do. You can have it just going on throughout the work week. So, and like Brady said, this is two features that we felt like would be extremely important, because it's two features that will make it more secure and have less risk of HIPAA violations. And I think that that's where we're really trying to target first. We love a lot of other ideas within, like Brady mentioned, removing games or adding games. We think that's fantastic, and that would be really cool to have, but we want to make sure that we're tackling the things that aren't wants and that are, we need this to be done if we were ever to provide patients with online gaming or with being able to play with each other or family and friends from home. So we would love any type of input that you would have on other things that are maybe the biggest concerns that you have with having in-room consoles, some things that you've seen consistently. I know that you all work in the same field that I do, and when we've been going through it, I've been doing my best to give that information, but I think that what you all know in your respective areas and fields is extremely valuable for us. So as we're building this, like I said, I think that it's really important to know that the reason why we started this, it was just, it's funny, it's just a couple of guys volunteering at a children's hospital trying to provide gaming. And we want to make sure that that is at the forefront of whatever we design and whatever we build. There's other ways for us to use this in esports or in hospitals, in airports are creating this stuff, but we really want to make sure that we're tackling these values of it's what hospitals need first and foremost. So, but yeah, does anybody have any, I know that this is kind of a lot of information, but does anybody have any questions about the program itself?
Is this a tool? Because I know you've done a lot of work at Primary on setting the settings and figuring out, like, curating that list and what those settings are. Does this allow any of that management, or is it just the friends list, which is an amazing piece, the friends list piece, but
Great question. So changing settings on this, that is something else that we're looking at doing.
It's doable.
Yeah.
I've built like some proof of concepts that do that. I haven't gone too far down the road with it, just because it's the kind of thing we want to make sure, like, if people want that, then we're going to build that. If people want something more that's a little more important, then we'll build that too.
What's really cool is, Brady's gone through all of these asks that I've had and brought up, and that I've been given by other people in the field. And he's really rolled with it, done proof of concepts for them, says either yes, it's possible, or no. And so far, there's not a lot of no's. He's already created something that can remove games, remove apps. App removal, I think, is going to be an extremely important piece, because of streaming programs, streaming services, if they're logging into their own accounts, removing the app itself and then re-downloading it would basically remove their account from that app. So it's just another way that we can try to make these a little bit more secure, have less PHI or less just information from the parent or families that are using it to stay on the Xboxes themselves. So yeah. And another thing too is we're looking at this at a couple different ways. We're wanting to grow this We can grow it long or we can grow it wide. And what I mean by that is growing it wide would be starting to, we're hoping to start to tap into other types of consoles or other types of gaming equipment. If that's Nintendo products, PlayStation products, as well as virtual reality, if that's Oculus. We want to see what we can do with it. Another thing that we're really excited about having a conversation with some game developers themselves. So that I know that if any of you have tried playing Overwatch 2, you will instantly know that Overwatch 2 cannot be played in a hospital. The way that they've set up their security settings for cheating forces you to type in a phone number that is linked to the account for up to a minimum of 12 months. So managing that is extremely difficult to do. So what we're hoping to do is once we provide this concept and we start deploying this in hospitals and be able to control, hey, Overwatch 2 right now cannot be played in the hospital, but at the same time, because there's nothing that can stop the security settings from you to download Overwatch 2, pull it up, and enter in that information, there's no way for us to control it. But if we're able to start removing those games or controlling what games can be downloaded or re-downloaded onto the Xboxes, that will really help us be able to talk with these game developers and say, hey, if you want to have access to this, or if we can have access to your API, when we set up these accounts, all of your Epic gaming accounts that are associated with your Microsoft account, all of your Blizzard games, we're really hoping that we can start working on that so that there's a lot less issues with changes with settings on the game development side. There's just so many different people that are fighting for securing these. Epic Games is a great example. About 3 months ago, they put in a new process of vetting child accounts. There's now parent accounts and child accounts. If you sign into or try to play Fortnite now, and your Epic account does not have a birthday in it, it will ask your patient to enter in their birthday. If they do that, it will instantly make it a child account, and it cannot be changed into a parent account unless they allow unless you provide them credit card information or provide them with your social security number. So having those conversations with these game developers, try to make it so that we have this little loophole that allows us to have this access, allows us to be able to instantly create these in the way that we need it to be for our hospitals. I think that's going to be really important as well. So there's a lot of different ways that we can go with this, and that's just what I wanted to make sure you're aware of. And we're really excited to see what we're going to come up with next for it. As far as pricing, I'm not sure if anybody's like really wondering about cost on this, but we are once again volunteers just trying to make this a possible thing. We're not putting an extra zero on this because it's designed for healthcare, like most companies do, and we haven't found an exact price yet. We're still working on that, but as of right now, you shouldn't expect anything above $1 per account per month. So it's going to be something. So say that an account, a hospital with 200 beds, 200 accounts, that would just be $200 a month for them to have any of the services that we're providing. We're not trying to pick them apart of saying, hey, friending is this much, and then conversations is this much. We're not going to do Epic chart. We're going to try to put it all into just one bundle. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're at this interesting intersection of like user management versus like console and device management. We can kind of go either way with this as we build it out. It can be the kind of thing where we let you build the tools we build the tools to let you manage the device itself versus like subscriptions across your Microsoft account and your Epic account and like Disney Plus or whatever. But yeah, for right now, this is what we've got. There's one thing that I wanted to show you guys real quick. I don't know if you can see my screen. So this is the Xbox app. This is this is this account pulled up with the 5 different conversations on there. So when I press the clear conversations button, this is probably not as exciting for you guys as it is for me, but you can kind of see it work in here, and then you'll see all of the messages disappear on there. So when that first happened, I was like, yes, this is gonna work.
And
yeah,
this is the third iteration of this too. We're calling it Coplay 3.0 because every time that we've designed it, we've found either a more efficient way for us to rebuild this, or a way that would be less invasive for hospitals to sign up for. I know that there's a lot of security, cybersecurity concerns and stuff whenever you're looking at implementing software into your hospitals. The way that we design this is that we do not require any passwords of your guys's. When you sign in, you're signing into Microsoft Store or Microsoft's website. We don't really capture or share any data. We're not a social media company. We're not owned by a social media company. So it's our privacy policy. Everything that we've done has been very just designed for healthcare and designed for making it an easy thing for hospitals to kind of slide into. So, but we won't know everything that that you all need until we start implementing it. So at the beginning, there might be a couple of pain points that we might not have been aware of, but we're just really excited to start addressing those and make it easier. What our hopes are is that in the future, it'll be something as easy as you can just sign up. You don't even have to set up a meeting with us. You can do it all online, just like creating a Hulu account. So hopefully we can get to that point pretty soon. But any questions?
To Shane's point, talked about the clearing personal accounts on streaming apps. Yeah, that's been a big one that we've run across, and that is the cool thing. So if that is the big thing that everyone wants, we can build it out so that you can remove and install like Netflix or Disney Plus, and that clears all the data out. And that would be done through that same dashboard that you guys saw. So I've already proved that out. It's not actually, it's just like adding one more thing that is, it wouldn't be a lot of work. It would just be something that we'd have to put in there if that's what the people want.
And also, Chico, Child Life Tech, I think that's your name, Chico. You asked how long have we been working on this? It's been since after the first year of us volunteering at primaries. We started identifying this as a solution, as a potential solution that we can use internally. And then we started thinking, okay, how can we provide this for other hospitals too? And so that's why we've been very, working very hard to make sure that we are doing this separated from my hospital so that we can provide it to others as well. That's, I think, a good thing to bring up. But Eric, so about 4 years is the answer to that. Eric, do you have a question?
Yeah. First of all, it's amazing. Probably everyone feels that this is like super, super cool. Just awesome work. But one question I had was about like if it was possible in the future, in terms of like when a patient comes in and a room gets switched or flipped, patient moves to a different unit, patient gets discharged, new patient comes in. It sounded like tracking that manually and then manually switching accounts or refreshing accounts is what you'd have to do. Is there a possibility to have like any sort of EMR integration or any sort of way to like automatically have things refresh or populate?
So EMR integration is something that we've thought of and we've been toying with. The only thing with the integration of an EMR is that now we're starting to deal with a lot more questions that people are going to have when they when you get vetted. Usually, if you're tapping into your patient data, there's a lot more red flags that come up. So we are looking into that for a potential thing in the future. The real reason why, I mean, that's one reason. The other reason is that everybody's working on so many different ones that we don't want to really put a lot of effort into something that might help 3 hospitals when we have 10 that really need it. So yes, we are looking into it, but as of right now, there's not a way. We have also been looking into the ways to make it as simple as a part of your EVS team or your cleaners, where there's a button that is plugged into your console that you can push, and that's the indicator of wipe this console, refresh it, get it set up. But now we're looking at hardware. So that's why those are kind of a little bit further in the future for us. But so, and that's why we're thinking that a scheduled thing, if it's every 24 hours or whatever it is that the best, the next best thing, I guess.
Yeah,
But
definitely
great,
something we can do for sure, right? Just it's the internal motivation of the hospitals to work with us and how quickly we can move with them. So,
and also the EMR companies too. A lot of those you have to get licensed through them, and you have to go through a lot of process for as well. So yeah, we are expecting that should be something that we can do, but also a lot of these things, these ideas that we have, like working with game developers, working with companies to integrate exactly what you're talking about, Eric. Those are wanted, but we feel like we want to develop a proof of concept, a working thing that's being active in hospitals, so that we can show, no, this is something that works, and it is something that integrating it into that system would make a lot of sense, right? So once we have that foundation, which should be coming up pretty soon. I mean, we're really excited that we've finally launched this. I've kind of hinted at this to quite a few of you, saying, oh, next month, oh, in 2 weeks, oh, in 2 weeks. And it's been a year and a half later, because we keep building it, and we're like, oh, we could build it differently. All right, throw it away. Let's re-go. So, but we finally really feel like we've nailed it, and we've figured out the fastest, most efficient way that is really easy and seamless for you all to operate. So, yeah.
If you have a console that lives part of its life offline because the storage room it lives in is offline or has no Wi-Fi or whatever, does it only like reach out and try to update when you click like the button, or does it, like how often does it go check to try to either reset the friends list or remove the conversations or any of that?
yeah,
and is that a setting that you can set, or is that just like, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. So kind of what Braxton was saying is it's the kind of thing where we want this to be as automated as possible. So right now we talk to the Xbox servers from here and say, hey, these are the friends we've added and removed. The next time that Xbox talks to the same Xbox servers is when things will get updated.
Right.
So if it is offline, it's not going to see anything updated till it goes back online. But in terms of like how quickly our service works with Xbox's servers, it's pretty much instantaneous. So like as soon as we're making these updates, it's on Xbox's end, and the next time that the console talks to the Xbox servers is when things update. So
got it. That makes sense.
So even if you push it and it's not connected to the internet at that moment, that doesn't mean that just gets lost in the sauce. Like it's going to stay there, and the next time that it connects, it's going to be good to go. So yeah. Right. It's a lot like, when an Xbox can be updated by Xbox itself or Microsoft itself, that's when our stuff would be pushing as well. Yeah, Eric.
At CHOP, we are going through a long and arduous process of, or beginning to update our internet infrastructure for patients and families, which I know this is kind of reliant on. I'm just curious, and maybe this is like an offline thing too, but do you have any sort of like recommendations on internet infrastructure? Because at this time, I'm like, I don't think our current could work with having all these systems online in different rooms. I know even Ethernet ports in our rooms aren't even active half the time. There's a whole, I mean, we're going through a whole cleanup anyway, but I would just love to know like certain details or suggestions like that.
Yeah, well, that's what's great. I mean, it is kind of a big question because it all depends on what you're wanting your patients to do. If you just want them to have this setup that can be resetting things as they're going into it, you don't need a lot of internet. It's really just a ping, just like the updates. It might take it a little bit longer to push, but it should be pretty simple. If you're wanting them to play video games online inside their rooms, that's a different amount of internet that you would need. And I can provide you the numbers that I would suggest offline if you'd like. But what I did when we were addressing that same thing, primary children's, when I was a volunteer there, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. We decided to do an internal um, hardwired network. So it was direct connection, not Wi-Fi. And we just went through what Xbox suggested for online gaming, which is really easy to find. But I definitely can help you out with that. But we just took that as the marker and we ran with it. Not saying that the internet at Primary Children's Hospital is amazing or anything. It does great things, and then it will have like a 3-second where everything goes offline for no reason. That really sucks for multiplayer gaming because that means you're kicked out of the the server. So there's still issues with that Primary Children's is having, but yeah, that all depends on your networking team and how they create it. So, but yeah, for our service specifically, any real Wi-Fi connection that can just be on, there's not really, I don't think, a bar that you would have to have set.
Awesome. If that's everything, thank you guys so much for the time. Yeah, it's been fun to build. I'm excited for it. There's a lot of potential, a lot of different ways we can go with it. And we're looking forward to just getting as much feedback from you guys as we can get to build exactly what you want. Kind of what I'm taking away from this, I've heard this a couple times, is the ability to clear out the data for like streaming videos. Seems to be a big one. That's come up a couple times. So that may be something that me and Braxton talk about. Maybe that's the next thing we do, is make it so you can get that off of your consoles.
Yeah. And
Have you
if
guys-
you have, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just thought of something. And you might have touched this at the very beginning that I missed, but if someone like deletes the profile on the actual Xbox, can you go back and put it in, or what happens there? Because that's an issue we've always had with those. Is like we create all these profiles and then they get deleted because there's no way to protect them.
Yeah, well, so JJ, as of I think it was last year, Microsoft finally added a setting on the Xboxes that stops that from happening. So that's why we haven't addressed it, is because we're not trying to fix the same things that they're fixing. We're trying to work separate. But they were able to fix that. So there is a setting that's in the sign in and security that you can it's in family settings, that you can stop the adding and removing of accounts. But with that, there's still reasons why it would be nice for us to figure out how to remove accounts. If you wanted to keep that open so that patients can add their own account, you could potentially allow them to add them. Then your system would be able to remove them. And I will ask Brady if that's something that we've tried or is possible, because once again, he's the smart one.
Actually, I have not looked into that, so that will be something I can check out. I am curious about that myself.
Oh,
So
oh, sorry, I was just going to say, if you have any questions or anything outside of this, or you need to contact us, I did just put my email and cell phone number in there. So reach out, let me know if you have any other input for us. But that doesn't mean be quiet. Eric, did you have something?
Well, I was curious, thinking like my old hospital IT hat. So does friend zone / Coplay, does it have access to the actual to what the conversations are in such a way that your servers are storing that potential PHI? And if so, what is the ways that can be scrubbed or logged or whatever?
Yeah, that's an awesome question, actually. So the way that the Xbox service works is you have to have an ID of a message, like the last message sent. You have to have that ID to be able to delete the whole conversation. So right now we do have the like last message. It's just the last message that was sent, but we don't need to have that. Like we can get rid of storing that and just keep the ID. I actually hadn't even, it's funny, I hadn't really thought that like, oh, maybe we don't need that at all. I think for the
I mean,
purposes
because if that's storing PHI, then that's potentially, as much an issue as Xbox itself storing the PHI is an issue, but
Yeah.
it is something to think about.
yeah, we
So
can get,
and we're not, and to Brady's point, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brady, but when you clear the message, that is no longer stored on Coplay. We don't have a backlog of any of this information. So whenever we ping Microsoft, whatever information we have, we're just getting it from Microsoft, and it's like a live feed of what's available. And it also, just to clarify, Brady, it is the last message of each conversation.
yeah,
is
and it
what's
does
stored.
get erased when you clear the conversation as well. So, but we don't even have to keep the
I mean, if you don't have to keep the message itself as well, that would be great. That would save you probably some questions later or some difficulties. I would imagine.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
The idea of having that accessible by the person that's managing it. I always am wondering what messages I'm deleting and removing, and I like to look at them before I remove them at primary children. So it is kind of nice to just be able to see at least what the context of their conversation is. So it really just depends on, once again, like what everybody wants or what they feel like is going to be best.
Yeah.
So
Maybe that can be a site setting that people can set for their facility. Because some
Exactly.
are going to be not worried about it because Xbox already has the message, and some will be like, we don't want as much as we can scrub that stuff, we want it scrubbed.
Yeah, it's an easy fix either way. So that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. Anything else?
I guess something I thought of for the future, if at some point when you get to, or maybe it would be useful to implement now, but the ability to have groups where you could put different consoles in different groups that you can then manage, so that this is our group of consoles that are on this unit, and maybe that's the mental health unit, and so they have slightly. I mean, you don't have rules in there yet, but for someday when you have rules in there, policy changes, really. But maybe also there is some friends policies or scrubbing policies that are different for that group versus the rest. Could be useful. I think. I don't know if everyone else thinks that, but yeah.
Yeah, I've had that same
definitely.
thought.
Instead of having to log into a new account for that group, that would make a lot of sense. And also, I mean, other features that we've looked at, other ideas. I mean, I would love a time where I can sit down at my computer and think, oh, today is going to be Fall Guys Friday, push Fall Guys to be downloaded on every single Xbox inside the hospital, and then able to send a message to every single Xbox in the hospital saying, hey, Fall Guys at 3:00, it's downloading on your Xbox, pull it up and play if you want to have time, and then have a CCTV show that's about that show. It just makes it so much easier, so that instead of pulling it up on CCTV and being like, hey guys, we're going to play Fall Guys, then each one now has to download it. Now your whole internet is just bogged down because there's 40 people trying to download Fall Guys at the same time. So there's a lot of cool, just really, really cool use cases that we could do with this. But once again, like, that is a wonderful want. That's a great want, but I don't consider it a need, like the removal of PHI and like these huge issues of hundreds of work hours that we would have to put into changing or manipulating one setting. If Xbox adds a new setting that we're like, oh great, we really need that, which has happened quite a few times in the past few years, we now don't have to go into every single Xbox and change that setting. I think that that's a huge, huge value. So yeah, really trying to make sure that we're putting those types of things, the biggest pain points and the biggest legal issues at the top, so that we can start providing this with without having so many walled conversations, or things that are left unspoken. So
Yeah. If you do get to the point where you have that ability to push out a game, being able to schedule it would probably be great, so that you can schedule it for 2 a.m. and not whenever you happen to push the button.
Totally.
that's a great idea.
All doable. Not big asks now that we've kind of got the underlying platform built. So we just we want to make sure that we're building something people are going to use and that people want. So yeah, please keep.
So, and we've scheduled a few demos with a few hospitals already. If you want to have a demo, or you want us to have a conversation with, the different decision makers that would be a part of that conversation, if that's IT, if that's perimeter control, your child life department, whoever it may be, we're more than happy to do that and get that scheduled. As of right now, it is a completely operational product that we can start using. So as much as we're talking about, oh yeah, there's a vision of all these cool things that we're going to do, and we're going to do, I promise, it's already something that can be used, and that we're starting to sign up some hospitals for. So definitely let us know if that's something that you want to start rolling out. But
I'll say, for anyone who's looking at this and might, as cheap as it is, have difficulty with spending money, our equipment grant cycle opening up in March. This would probably class under that. So be thinking about that.
I would definitely rather have Eric's money than yours. So any of yours.
Rude.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully we'll have more of these conversations.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. I'll hop off too.
I'll turn off the recording. Wait, did it work? Oh no, I didn't turn it off.
All right. I'm just stuck around.